I published a new book in October called Almost Doing Good. And basically, what it did was position organizational leaders to be able to answer the same quote unquote individual questions that my first book, Good Enough Now, challenged us to answer about who and how we want to be in the world. If we're going to give human rights to organizations, I'm going to call your bluff because then we haven't even given human rights equally to humans. So your organization should have a voice of its own and be able to answer who is it? What does it believe in? Why is it doing what it's doing? And I encourage organizations I work with, usually as a consultant, I encourage them to stick a flag in the ground. And when you stick a flag in the ground, you know what you stand for, you know why you're there. You can use that to figure out what your responses are going to be. You're far more prepared for crises. And then the real weak link, and we talked about this last couple webinars, is around uncertainty, because recognizing a problem that you don't experience is really hard because you don't experience it. But if we can learn to recognize problems can exist even if we don't experience them, then that helps with that uncertainty and the fear and leans more into curiosity. So if what if it happens were to actually happen, what would that mean and what would that look like for my clients in crisis, out of crisis? Sometimes I call this thing a reflective crisis because they're not in crisis, but somebody they're watching is, whether it's a benchmark organization, somebody they just don't want it, they don't want that to happen to them, or they're kind of maybe preemptively trying not to be in crisis. So when I started calling the program What If It Happens, I started using this language pre-election. So we are into the middle of 2024 when I started presenting programs called What If It Happens to address people's fears and worries, but also there was some excitement. It's probably hard today to think about, remember when we were excited about like, wow, what if it happens? And for some of us, it did happen. And for others of us, it didn't happen. And now we have new fears and new anxieties that are clearly happening. And things that I know that I have said out loud, like, well, at least this isn't happening, could be happening because every single day is some catastrophic level giant thing that I don't know how anybody would have the time to follow it all the way down its rabbit hole into what is the next what if it happens.